Is it May 13th, 2021, 8:16 a.m. And this is the PBA collective bargaining session. And online, we have Shannon Erdwins from the clerk's office. And then we'll start with Crystal.
Crystal Bedura, HR manager.
Also Ruben.
Chris Smith.
Alan Miller, Florida PBA.
Floyd Dibble.
Lonnie Wilson.
Thomas Hurley.
Sorry, Kevin Daniels.
Peter Daniels.
Sean Hankins, corrections.
Charles Monroe, Rick College Chief Corrections.
Janice Gilly, administration.
Janice Hill, HR.
Nikki Hopper, the court. Kristen Newell, County Attorney's Office.
Okay. All right, so Janet, did you want to get us started?
Well, I guess we would actually like to start with y'all. I mean, we gave y'all a proposal on wages last time, and we did go through and make some changes to the articles that we spoke about that we discussed last time. But if y'all have any response to the wage proposal or feedback, that would be great.
We have a counter. We had our staff go to my reps go to the jail and the camp. There were some concerns at the camp yesterday from some of the road officers, so I actually went out and sat down with them and explained it to them. To the person, I didn't get a yes that they would vote for just 2%.
Okay.
What we're giving you as a counter is kind of a stepped plan that I think it helps both sides. It gives you the ability to hire somebody in if they have experience at a better rate of pay. It also enables the ones who are there and have been there and done it a little bit more. The corrections officers trainee, we left at 1504, which is what y'all proposed. Certified with less than a year, 1741, which is the level that y'all put them in at. And then a corrections officer with 1 to 3 years experience would be 1828 with no step. Once they get to 1828, they would not receive a step. They would just get to that. Corrections officers with 4 to 6 years in place would be placed in the appropriate step plus 2 steps, which would be 4%. Corrections officers with 7 years or greater would be placed in the appropriate step plus 3 steps at 6%. Any officer that falls below the 1828, which is a possibility, that falls into one of the other seniority classes, would be placed at 1828 and then the appropriate percentage for whatever years of service that he had. And then we just mirrored your, upon ratification, current incumbents would be placed into the step with the appropriate things. And any COLA across the board, it would also apply to the BOCC corrections. And the reopener on wages, which I just see, I thought I found all my typos, but there's a typo in that. That would be wages 1 year from the date of ratification. We did not do anything with the recruitment bonus because, to be honest with you, we have kind of a hard time understanding it, the way it's written.
Yeah, it's more like an FYI because we're adopting that into the HR policy.
Yeah, that's fine, but we're looking at that, and it's kind of candidates who have been selected but not yet employed as a corrections officer may be eligible for recruitment incentive of $2,000. Candidates who have been selected but not employed yet as corrections officer trainee may be eligible for $1,500. That's like the same class.
The trainee versus the corrections officer. One's the training academy, correct?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's what the distinction is. And with y'all's wage proposal, for clarification, are y'all proposing the step increase in lieu of the 2%, 4%, 6%, and 8% supplemental pay that y'all currently get, or in conjunction with?
In conjunction with, we're not taking anything that they currently have away, because y'all weren't taking anything they currently have away. But this was just to get it started. We understand that it's critical times in corrections, everywhere. But when here we have, and this is what I'm told, sometimes a supervisor and 4 officers working at work release, and you basically have very little response, so you have to wait for them to come across the street if you have an issue. That's scary. The shortage in the main jail goes without saying. You know, a lot of people don't understand that the clientele that we're dealing with is the same ones they're dealing with on the street, except for we're with them 24 hours a day and 7 days a week. So that is our counter pay proposal. We do have one question though about the pay scale that you have. As minimum wage increases from year to year, I know you had that, you showed us how it would bounce. Is that going to automatically increase for the employees every year? Or is the bottom end just?
The board would have to make that
Correct, it'd have to be a
decision,
board
yeah.
decision.
Okay.
That's why we were saying we would do a wage reopener each year to discuss
Okay. But that
where
was
we
just-
thought
that was-
the board was gonna go.
Yeah.
As you know, the board has not typically done COLAs, from what I can tell, for several years.
Since
They-
2008.
Right, since 2008, they haven't done a COLA. They've done a straight percentage increase. So
Yeah,
we are
across
now
the board.
recommending a COLA to try and help with issues that we have observed in compression, and then also, you know, just regular issues with starting pay and things like that.
Yeah, our little mini emergency that cropped up in the last 2 days since we've met, which was nobody's fault but one gas company's fault. But okay.
All right, well, I do think we had a couple of other,
Articles.
yes, articles to look through, and we kind of wanted to have a little bit more, robust discussion about the RCO, MCO assignment pay, because we want to make sure that we get that. I think we understand exactly what the issue is,
That was
okay?
my next.
Yeah, I think we understand what the issue is.
Yeah.
I think part of the issue is making sure that we articulate it the right way. So we would like to kind of talk through that with you some
Sure.
more. Because, so don't hear what I'm not saying. I'm not saying we don't support what you're trying to get to with that. What I'm trying to make sure is that we put it down properly, that we articulate it properly, but we also keep the opportunity, if we need to give assignment, that we can give assignment. So we're not talking about taking it away from
Right.
people, we're trying, we understand, we
Right.
think we understand exactly what your issue is, but the articulation of it
Yeah.
is, you know, it's really, really in the weeds in a CBA. And so, that's what we would kind of want to walk through. That's where I wanted to go with that,
Well,
so.
prior to our last CBA, it was very clear.
Yeah, that's what I think, Chief, that's what Snow and I were talking about, was that we think the last iteration might be what provided the confusion. So,
His name was Tom Turner.
well, we also were told that as well.
I have a copy of the previous CBA.
Yeah.
So
Well,
we can always-
yeah, that's what I think we need to do, is we need to go back and pull that
Yeah.
one and make sure that we,
Yeah.
you know, do that.
Yeah.
I would say this, from MCO perspective though, and I don't know if it says it in the previous one, we will require them to maintain certification to maintain the MCO status.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's,
I just don't know if it's in there,
It
but I did
wasn't,
want to mention.
I don't
want you
think
to be
it actually
surprised.
specifically said it, but if they let their EMT license lapse, they can't perform the MCO function.
Right, but if I tell you that it's permanent, once they get it, you see what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
there was an
which is-
issue with the.
Yeah.
What she's saying is, back the way we used to do it, if an RCO or an MCO got promoted, they got promoted with their rate of pay.
Yeah.
So if we promote an MCO to sergeant, and he keeps that MCO pay, he's got to keep his standards
Yeah.
Right.
Through his promotion.
through his promotion. So he
Yeah.
goes to sergeant, he keeps that money, or an RCO, they have to keep the standards.
Yeah.
with
Yeah,
it.
yeah, what we're trying to do is make sure that you don't have a reduction in
Yeah.
the
Right.
base pay
Yeah.
and not pursue promotion because you don't want to take that reduction. That's what I believe that's what we understand is the issue.
Well, and I think some of-
articulating that,
And some of it's fair too as an assignment pay, because most assignment pays, if somebody's removed from it, it's not a grievable offense. And it's always been a point of pride for the guys that are on the road that you know, they were either hired in at that, or they decided to go from outside, or from inside to outside. And you have to have I mean, not only you have to have your correction skill set, but you have to have construction skill sets or acquire them as you go. And that's not, some of it's invaluable to what they do. I've said it before, they save us millions of dollars a year.
Okay. So do you want to look at some of these and see where we are with these? Because obviously, I will have to run numbers for what you
Yes.
propose, so I cannot respond to that today.
We need to know the original. 100%.
So
Yeah.
that's what I was gonna say, let's go from the beginning. So we didn't have the duration for y'all last time. That is there, the duration of renewal.
Yeah, it'd be 3 years from ratification. Yeah.
It's statutory.
And so the next article should be 13, and this is where we're gonna have a write-in. So 13.02F. Y'all had asked for the 100%, in the event that the death occurred in the line of duty. If we were amenable to that, it just wasn't put in there, so we're gonna write that in.
Where are you gonna put it at?
Yeah.
At letter F. We all agreed, we just didn't get it on the document. I think she can print one for you, so we can.
There were too many F's in there. Oh, in 1303B, or no, actually it's part A, in the third line of the paragraph, you can strike Jeff Clark. He's retired. I think the only person we still have out of that group would be Barry Owens.
So there's just one person on?
Yeah, he's the
Oh,
last.
okay, B. Owens.
Yeah, he's the last of the
I'm making
Mohicans.
the changes now.
Okay. So, yeah, I just added it, and I was gonna, in the event of the death officer's death occurred in line of duty, 100% there. Use it if you could.
Hopefully that's a clause we'll never have to use. And I know we've had this conversation, because I know I sent the email to Ms. Stills and Ms. Gilly. For those of y'all who are here, during the shortage, they've agreed that if you hit the 400-hour cap on annual leave, they will not remove that from you.
I wrote it down, it's been good, always, Chris.
Yeah. And that's something, don't worry about it.
It was for the calendar year, and then we said, well, I'll just reiterate it again, if by chance it was.
Yeah, denied or approved.
Officer, what are you looking for?
It used to be in here, in the contract we had, where if I put in for annual leave or any leave, okay, and it was denied, I had to get a written notice that it was denied from the supervisor.
In other words, you get your leave slip back.
Get my leave slip back so I have proof that I used the good faith to try to use my leave and it was denied. One time that was in the contract.
Not in this one.
No, it got left out of it. But that should be, I mean, that should be just a
That's
good
not,
business
that's
practice.
not contractual language, that's policy.
Yeah. But that's just a good management that you give them yes or no.
If you deny my leave, I'm gonna hold that piece of paper.
Well, I know some officers had a problem in the past, but then of course all leave was suspended, so didn't have a problem, but
So we looked at 18 already, is that a callback? I mean, not callback, the
Yeah,
court.
it's called back.
Yeah, callback in court time. So,
and what I was saying, Chief, is actually in 1310. It's actually in here, so I missed it.
Why would they go for you? I mean, it doesn't matter.
It'll be placed in the personnel file.
You can't, I wouldn't, personnel file,
Yeah, that was.
Lord have mercy.
No, it doesn't go in personnel file, there's no way.
Y'all don't have enough building.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we can clean that language up if you want to too.
On the callback time, is that where we're at?
I think we're on 1310.
Yeah, let's
We
go to
want to
1310.
resolve
I,
that
I'm
first.
sorry, yeah,
Yeah.
I brought it back to 1310.
Well, and that's appropriate to go back.
so are there any other changes in that article that need to be made?
So you wanna just scratch it in personnel file, just, yeah.
I just want to make sure the employee gets
That's
their
not
copy
happening.
back.
Yeah, exactly, there's no
Yeah.
sense in having something in contract that we're not doing.
No.
That's not going in their personnel file.
If denied, copy of the request will be done. It will be placed, will be provided to the officer.
Provided to the
Yeah, was
officer.
provided to the officer.
Yeah.
So are we getting, sorry, are we taking out that whole sentence into non-copy?
No, no,
no,
just
right.
the,
Provided in the.
Yeah.
Placed
Put it in
in
the
the
file.
officer's personnel file with a copy.
Because I know we used to keep them on shift level, and you had to purge it every year because we worked 13 days a month, and some people put in 13 slips a month.
well, I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, depends on your perspective. I look at the leave balances, there's not a whole lot of people that use
I was
it.
just gonna say, I know, that's
As
why
I
I
look
moved
at
on
the
to
leave
18.
balances all the time, there's not a whole lot of people that are gonna use the
We'll
rules.
wait till we
No.
discuss 18.
Now, you got, it
There's
takes a while to get,
handful.
it takes a while to get to 400.
Yeah, well, no. We have a lot of people that earn it and burn it.
Okay, we ready to go to 18?
Yeah.
And I just have a question, and it may not fall under this callback time, it may be something totally different. During the, this past year, remember we had the ice storm, and the county went to administrative, put everybody out on administrative,
Kind of
leave.
shut down.
Right. And during that, we had to call officers in to go work because it was an emergency and they had to, sand the bridges and whatnot and have you. Now, not that those officers, it wasn't no fault of theirs that the county put them on administrative leave, but they didn't get compensated because it wasn't considered admin leave, not considered time work. So,
I thought we fixed everybody's time up.
this is after, yes, sir, this.
There was conflicted instructions that were received?
Yes.
And then once we realized that some people didn't understand what the expectation was,
Yes.
that's when we went back and fixed everybody's hours.
Right, and yes, sir, this is after, after the fact.
Sure.
Where this, it only affected 2 officers, I believe.
Well, but it affects some more people in the county as a whole too, because it wasn't just our.
Right, and so that's what they were told, when they went to their administration, and they're like, look, well, we can't pay you at the time, even because holiday, if it happened, and it was on a holiday,
Exactly.
so,
Well, it was a compounded mess, that's for sure.
right, and so, if they don't come in, they're disciplined for not showing up because that's our job, but at the same time, they're put on administrative leave because the downtown decides to do so, but yet they can't be compensated for going out and doing their job. Does that make sense?
Well, a little bit, and I understand the problem that we had.
Okay.
And I think it was the interpretation of the way it was being input into the system. And that's why when everybody got back to work, we were able to figure out the problem and then appropriately pay for it. But yeah, it wasn't intentionally, it was just.
Oh, yes, sir, I understand.
It was some people that didn't understand what we were trying to do at the time. So we got it fixed, so yeah, that's the intent. Is
Okay,
that-
so I guess that's they're wondering in the future because, you know, we're supposed to respond.
Absolutely, nobody is ever going to short sheet anybody.
Okay.
It's never gonna be done, as long as I'm setting the seat. That was just a recording error that I used
And I'm just sure Kronos is gonna fix.
Oh, yeah, remember we're on Chronos.
I know you're on
Yeah, yeah.
Kronos.
This is a different version of
New
Kronos.
Kronos.
It-
New
It was
Kronos.
the way that people inputted the information.
Okay.
Okay, so were there any issues, because we changed the 2 hours time, report time?
I thought we were.
We did a happy medium. It was 1, y'all asked for 3, and we went to 2.
Never been one.
No, that's not.
It was
Never
three.
been one.
It was
It was at
three.
three.
It was
It
at
two,
three,
yeah.
whether, no matter,
At minimum.
whether they had been called back within an hour or not.
Well, no,
Then
because,
we had proposed, so I think we had originally proposed if it's within an hour, then.
that's continuous time.
Then there's no minimum. But if it's more than an hour, then you would
Actual hour
get
time.
3 as a merit guarantee. So I was told to revise it to reflect that if it was more than an hour, you get 2.
But the way we've always looked at it is if it is a continuous time, even if it goes past an hour, it's actual hours worked. Now, if you go home and say you get off at 7 o'clock and then something comes up at 10 o'clock and you need to go back, then that's when callback time would fall back in. Or if you went to court, that would be a callback time.
Right?
And it's totally different issues, so we didn't have a
So
problem with
this
continuous
does-
time.
This doesn't address continuous time, and I think we're on the same page there.
Yeah.
This addresses an instance where you are actually called back, so it's callback time.
Yeah.
And if it's within an hour of the end or beginning of your shift, then.
It's continuous.
We'll call it that, but
Yeah.
you're still called back. And if it's within an hour, then there's no guarantee. But if it's more than an hour, then there is a guarantee. That's how this is drafted. And callback's a time and a half.
Yeah.
Sorry for my confusion, because last time we discussed this, there was mention about the 3-hour minimum. But that's what was already in there, or that's what we had already proposed.
We have proposed that if it's more than an hour. Yes.
We'll have to talk about that one in just a minute with our guys.
Maybe we were unclear about what y'all were asking for then.
The callback time we were talking about, we understand that we're on the same page with continue. If you have to work over or you forget to do a report and they get you back within the hour, or if it's, I mean, even, I think, in some of the contracts, it says if it's something that you should have done while you were working,
That's what it's put, should.
then
Yeah,
it's
that's in-
continuous
That's in,
time.
that's in the
here.
contract.
Yeah. But if it's outside your normal hours
Right.
and you come back, that's where we had the 3-hour minimum.
Right.
But now, if the meeting went 4 hours or 5 hours,
You got paid for hours work.
you got paid for the 4 or 5 hours. You didn't get guaranteed 3 plus 4 or 5 that you were there. You got actual hours.
So, I
But if the
think
meeting went an hour and a half, you still got 3.
I think what you're proposing is that regardless of whether it's an hour or less or an hour or more, if you're called back, you get the minimum.
Right.
least three.
Guaranteed.
Yeah, at least
of
3.
3.
Yeah.
The way we proposed it, we had proposed if it was more than an hour, you got 3 less than an hour, no guarantee, it's actual time worked. So I was told to revise it to allow 2.
Yes, so that's really confusing.
So does that, so anyway, I think we'll have to discuss, because there was some
Yeah, we'll just-
misunderstanding.
So
Yeah,
y'all have
'cause-
the guarantee regardless.
Yeah.
That's where.
Yeah, but we want to make sure that, you know, because we understand the continuous time. And
Yeah, we're
and
not
if you
talking
stay over
about
15
continuous
minutes
time.
and, you know, we're not,
talking
we're
about
not,
continuous time.
we're trying to be fair on both sides.
Right, we're talking about somebody who actually left work, went home, and then got called back.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, that's fine.
We will discuss that. Were there any other issues with this one?
No, ma'am.
Sal, this is the same, I just highlighted the appendix, which of course will be subject to change.
Yeah.
And it also references appendix C, which we're still working on. So I think we can skip to 23.
I would like to change the career path thing. Since most universities and schools are doing the virtual learning or the online learning, I think we keep the 120 hours of approved training for our progression plan, but give the officer the option of doing it all online or any combination of Georgetown and online.
I don't know what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
say what part.
That would be 2105, promotional procedures and career path. And you're gonna have it in here.
There
This
is
is in our old contract.
2105.
Yeah.
Because all that's been moved to.
Well,
22.
they moved,
We already TA'd that.
it's, I think when we were dealing with that, that was probably prior to COVID. It's been a while.
Let me just throw a little caution to the wind with saying that there's a lot of places you can go online and pay a fee and get training certificates for that mean absolutely nothing.
Well, it would be the stuff that's included in the appendix, the approved FDLE, National Institute of
Right,
Corrections.
but right now, we're already doing that.
But we're not doing it all. You still have to go to George Stone. All I'm asking is to amend it, so if you can't get the class at George Stone or they don't offer it, the officer has the chance to either do it all 120 hours online at the National Institute of Corrections, FDL site, or any combination of George Stone and that.
Well, let me ask my training guru down there, Jen, how many classes go on field at George Stone routinely?
They're canceled all the time.
Yeah, because people don't go,
I understand that.
and that's
Yeah.
long before COVID.
Oh,
So-
I just wanted to give the officers the option. That's all I was asking. You can change that to give them the option.
And I know the availability sometimes is
Yeah.
kind of on cycle too, because
Yeah,
there's some
it's
affiliated
been-
programs
yeah.
that can teach the classes where you have
Talks
already
about
to be,
certifications and qualifications.
for the
I think that's all
availability of
in
people
the
teaching, they're teaching, some of them, I think, come from state to teach.
Yeah, we put it all in the article.
They've been running them, we got instructors at the jail, we've been really good about getting new instructors out there. We got all folks across all four shifts. We got so many, I don't have to teach anymore, unless I want to.
That's a good thing.
That's a good thing.
You wear yourself out.
Done with 2 jobs
Shall
ago.
include hours of approved CJSTC training courses that the candidate successfully completed while on duty.
I think there was a cap on how many hours you could use.
Yeah, but
It's 100 hours.
But we're going by state standards now, that's why the article's written the way it is, because the state establishes standards of what's acceptable and not.
And it doesn't specify whether it's online or not.
Okay.
Okay, 23. This is status quo language, so we thought that might be the simplest approach.
What did we not agree with?
500 hours a week or something.
Yeah.
Statutory, true. We have
Yeah.
to-
No, not her.
Which, I mean, the 500 is statutory.
No,
Okay.
what is set in stone in the statute is what the number of hours that can then go into what calculates
Right.
your benefit retirement benefit. But what we pay out is determined by our own policy.
Regarding leaves.
Right.
Right,
So
no, I'm
our
talking about
policy allows up to 400, but they wanted 500, which was in the old contract. And that's the maximum that the state statute will allow to calculate your retirement benefit.
And that's my point is just why wouldn't we just follow state statute? I understand the limitation of 100 hours, but I think we had, last conversation was.
We're not asking for 500 hours of annual leave. We're asking the availability to be able to sell 400 hours of annual leave plus a combination of holiday comp to make your 500.
Well, you can do this under the status quo language.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you want to reword it, that's fine, but I mean,
Well, no,
I didn't
I-
think you had a problem with the way things were.
Well, no, I just, the only thing that caught my eye was it says, sell back shall not exceed the limits set elsewhere in the contract or those set by FRS, whichever is less. So I just wanted to make sure that we're all on the same page, that we can't sell a combination back. Because we know you're gonna pay 400 hours of annual leave.
Do you want to counter?
No, I mean, I just wanna make sure that that's the intent of the
So
language.
payroll's here.
Then you need to
so-
counter.
or is that not how
It
it's?
needs to be.
I know
It's
it's not
really
how
not
it's
how
doing
it's
it.
calculated, so I would say they would probably need to counter.
Right.
Because
You're
that's-
going
I
full
don't
flat.
read that as the intent in there, and
Yeah.
if it's
Clerk's
gonna
office
be
goes
different
full
from
flat.
everybody else, I need something specific.
Okay.
So I can disseminate to my employees or Kronos, because Kronos may be able to just do this automatically, and that would be tied to the profile that then would allow that for anybody in the PBA.
But y'all are, last time, just so I recall correctly, y'all are good with the existing language as long as we took out the reference to the current DCD policy, because it doesn't allow for the holiday comp, and we just put in that the holiday comp could be, that has been accrued in the past 12 months could be paid out.
So,
Well, at the first sentence says you may sell back your annual leave, holiday, and compensatory time at the time entering the drop.
Yes, and
Yeah.
that's
So just
dictated by the
increase it to
statute.
500.
Yeah,
You
but,
can either do it when you enter or when you finish.
yeah, well, what we're saying is,
Well,
if they're going in the drop, I say they sell back, if they have over 500 hours, they only sell back 500. I can tell you the sheriff's office, where I retired from, and went in the drop, they took a combination of my holiday comp and annual leave to make 500 hours. I wasn't offered the ability at that point in time to sell out all of my leave. I didn't get that
Well, you can
until
only
I
roll
terminated.
from one year to the next of annual leave up to 400 hours.
Right.
Right.
So
Yeah.
just increase that to 500. What you can keep on the
No,
book.
because I think what you're asking for is to allow the 400 and any comp that you might have.
Could we simplify the language, something to the effect of any combination of 500 hours, not to exceed 500 hours, any combination thereof,
Not to include sick leave.
not to include sick leave, yes.
It's paid out of different rates.
Yeah.
That's what I'm sorry. Rather than all service.
Alan's writing it down, and I'm getting
I was already writing down exactly what he just said.
Look at y'all, y'all on the same page.
It scares the
Put that shit on the
bejeebies out of me.
Oh, stop it.
It probably scared him
So
too.
y'all go to y'all separate
I'm
corners.
not scared.
Hey,
I got a big dog, couple of them.
I've thrown that one before. You know your head flushes. You know your head flushes.
All right, so it looks like we could take some of these and bring them back clean to sign. If Kristen's, you wanna wait around for that? Let's sign a couple more.
Lonnie says he's not in a hurry. He works for Commander
He's on
Snow
the
and he's
clock.
on coffee break.
Well, we do have another meeting at 9:30.
Yeah.
you can maintain your health insurance after you retire. You just have to pay the entire premium, yeah. You're able, it's called, I don't know if it's retiree insurance, is that technically called COBRA?
No.
Yeah, it's retiree insurance.
COBRA's
It's
a lot
on-
more.
yeah, it's like $700 something for single, and
About $2,000.
yeah, it gets expensive for family, but that's everywhere.
Thank you. But it's the total.
Where does it-
cost, it's the total package,
I mean,
so.
oh, here?
You gotta spend 21 years in the Army to get it.
Oh, yeah, that's cut, yeah, my brother-in-law did his 30 years in the Guard for TRICARE.
Which is getting more expensive, actually.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, but it's not $700 something a month.
Okay, Alan, did you capture the language that y'all want to integrate into the 23 in the drop article?
Did I capture it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it says the employees just, may sell back a combination of their leave to not include sick leave.
Okay, a
$500.
combination of up to.
Yeah, up to 500 hours.
Yeah, up to one, yeah. Says May 11th, just so that.
Well, the rest of that sentence says to the limit authorized by FRS, which is 500 hours.
Yes, 500.
Yeah.
So
We just want to make sure internally,
I thought you were gonna change the second sentence. Such sellback shall not exceed a total of 500 hours. Excluding sick leave.
yeah,
What they want is what the FRS will allow them to sell,
yeah.
and a combination
But
of whatever hours.
The statute doesn't dictate what you can sell back. That's determined by the employer and their policy. What the statute speaks to is the maximum number of hours that can go into what calculates your retirement benefit.
I'm
And
aware.
that's 500 hours.
Yeah, exactly. We know that you're gonna allow the employee to sell back 400 hours of annual leave, period, at the time they enter the drop. But we want to make sure that they have the option with their holiday comp to make up the other 100 hours.
Okay, so then tell me what you want this to say.
So member could just say in the drop may elect to sell back a combination of annual leave, holiday leave, and conflict at the time of entering the job, up to 500 hours. I think they just want the 500 hours represented in there.
Okay, well, the rest of this sentence says up to the limit authorized by FRS, which is 500 hours.
correct.
So then if we, just to be absolutely clear, the second sentence, if we revise that to say, however, such sellback shall not exceed a total of 500 hours, excluding sick leave. Are we agree with that?
That work.
Okay. Let me resend this to you. Hold on a second.
Luckily, I haven't printed anything.
You're the one that hates to kill trees, everybody
I
else.
do. I'm trying to save the environment one thing at a time.
That's what I should No. Yeah, we got that. Counter sheet.
Is that the last one?
Did they agree?
I think so.
Yeah. I don't think we ever came to, oh, we're going to talk about it.
Not to them.
Oh, yeah, I think so. So if y'all would like to go ahead, y'all can, because we didn't make any changes to, to Article 3. We maybe we just do the salary level? Okay, so that can be, okay, so 3 and 21.
Can't do 21, right?
I made changes to 13 and 23, and I think 3.
Yeah, so 13 and 23, don't do any of the print.
13 and 23, yes. And, I would, we can hold on 3 until we finish, and usually we hold that to it.
I'll print 13 and 23.
So just for clarifications, with the career path, she said that you can do it all online, and that's not what it says here, and you said we're following state
No,
statute.
No, I said that the article as TA doesn't specify whether the course is taken or not.
Okay, well, it says here in 2105 that you can
There
substitute
isn't a
100 hours.
2105.
Yeah, that's what, we removed that.
That's the
Yeah,
old
it's stricken
contract.
from the contract
And we
already.
TA, a new Article 22 that includes all the verbiage that addresses that issue.
Yeah, I think the problem is, y'all never gave us a copy of the latest CBA that y'all are working off of, that has the TAs in it. We're still working off of, August the 29th of 19.
No,
Alan, you got copies of the TAs?
you've gotten copies every single time of all the new proposals and everything that, if somebody has.
Fair enough.
I
Fair
don't
enough.
I don't have hard copies. I can email it to you.
If you can email them, that's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, I can print.
Sure.
But, it's just,
You're working off the old CBA.
yeah.
How about, Janet can print off a copy, that way at least you don't have to print the whole
Y'all are killing my copy and print budget. Every penny counts.
I'll bring you a ring of paper.
Thank you.
I'll supply the other ring.
What about the ink, the toner,
That's on
tomatoes
you.
to the.
That's on you.
copy?
I'll come to public forum and see if they'll enhance your budget. I can't come to public forum because I will.
I would love to see you public, sir.
It used to be a valuable tool. And now they're not abiding by the guidelines that says you're not to bash an employee or bash a commissioner.
The degradation of public dialogue.
It really does make me sad.
think Santa Rosa wasn't as bad until the last couple of weeks. Oh my God.
Yeah, we've been dealing with that.
I've purposefully not watched it.
Where I read the article this morning where they're actually going to issue the administrator a reprimand for missing the deadline. And he was actually taking the heat for an employee, which I have to appreciate, and stepping behind his people.
Come with a grant.
Huh?
Come with a grant.
Yeah.
I hesitate to ask this question, but how many of you would like copies of all the TAs? So I'll say I can email everybody, then you can get one master copy, or we go with that?
Yeah.
All right, great.
You need a copy of everybody's email address.
You can send it to me. Yeah, I'll say I can email it to you, you can distribute it. Teamwork makes the difference.
Put yours on there. Get the four of y'all. I don't know if Santos knows how to use a computer.
Yeah, he's pretty strong
Okay.
on computer.
I love him to death. I call him a little manual. I'd hate to see him really get riled up. I know I got through that. No, personally, I'm not working with. Yeah, well, I'm gonna make sure that language that they're just talking about, that they're not going through about that. If it's like it is, then. Because there's no state statute to govern the clear cut. Now, classroom hours that they're talking about, that's not forced out. That's.
Basically, I just added it to the end of what was already there. So it says any event that the cardinal line of duty, 100% of all unused sick days to be paid out.
I think I see his confusion.
So we're adding 100 in the line of duty.
Where it says in there that an officer may substitute 100 classroom hours, that's college classroom hours.
No,
That was the,
right now, we got people getting degrees, and putting online still no classroom hours.
If they're getting a degree online, they're
But
spending.
are you looking at the new article?
Yeah.
It's pretty much the same course. Yeah.
But do we need specific?
That's
That's
why
why
we
we
just
just
want
Is that correct? So is this what we need?
Correct, that's fine.
You want me to email this to you? Okay. We have to make a slight adjustment to 1302F.
Because it specified right there, it was 100 hours or more for complicated classes. Well, I mean, that's not talking online. That's, if you're going to PPC, Florida State, South Carolina.
City office. If we don't have a specific ordinance that says that the county's policy would allow for.
So she's been busy for 4 months.
But if somebody dies,
So
and it's not,
if we're getting in here,
they can still pay whatever.
And I get that, because we had that same issue with the awards is retired.
oh, I know.
You can do that.
And she went into 1.6, that doesn't count, so it's correct.
The county policy says, we're
Now,
gonna pay
they
up to
bridged her.
50%.
Yeah, they bridged
That's
That doesn't bridge her time.
So you can still pay somebody.
I know, I'm just saying, I haven't gotten involved in that.
I know,
but
so-
she's-
So we're good with this?
Me too.
I've been a lot with you. I know she's well sick. But that's not fine. It's easy.
The county policy dictates it's 50% up to 10.
So we just added the provision in the line of.
So pause this a long time ago.
Yeah. The only caveat on that, sick leave payout is in the line of duty death.
Right, and that's what we were trying to, we want to specify that if it's in the line of duty, you get up to 100% with the max of 10. If it's not in the line of duty, then it's still the county's policy, 50% up to 1040, and then it's paid out to the state.
Well, no, that wasn't the intent of what we said. If they have 2,500 hours and they die in the line of duty, then that family gets 2,500 hours. That was our
Jana
request.
capped it at 1040. They want it not capped.
In the line of duty, it's not capped.
It was gonna pay out 100% of the sick leave, but still had the 1040 cap for the total payout.
That wasn't what we asked for.
Well, this is a compromise. You can counter it.
Our counters, our original intent was if they have 2,000 hours, they get 2,000 hours because they gave the ultimate sacrifice. I mean, it's, if we are blessed by God, we'll never have to pay it out. But we had a 40-year-old corrections officer at Santa Rosa County pass away with COVID. And they paid out every stitch of leave he had on the books.
Well, we can take that into consideration. Okay, so we have one article we can see here then.
Progress.
whatever the person has.
Oh, yeah, you do
They would pay out. They would.
Can't do
So they
duration.
had 2,000 hours.
Just wanna make sure that you agree with what we discussed.
Years from
today.
ratification.
Prove that. It's got everything in there, it's just spread out.
Right.
C.
And I mean, that's,
Yeah, I don't think that.
yeah,
The ground.
it's consistent. If you step back, you step back.
I don't know.
Do we send it to you?
This is not typically how
Yeah,
a
I know.
legal review,
Yeah.
so I think they're just gonna want to use this up.
Well, I know, when we talked about it yesterday,
You said just take what we did for
yeah, so I was just adding to the
Okay. So I didn't know that. I'm gonna. So that would have to go to the board, so if the board goes to the board, it should come to the board.
Yeah. The same there.
Okay, with that.
So we went over all the articles. Is there anything else that y'all wanted to discuss before we convene? Adjourn? There you go. What? 23.
That's got everything there, right?
Yeah,
Drop.
I mean,
Can we drop?
Now I'm gonna drop.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right.
hey, did you bring the?
Something on the list.
Yes, I do have the
Sick
hey,
Are we done? Are we done? I wanna make sure before we turn it off.
Yeah, we're done.
Okay, all right.
I know the answer to that question already.